I'm Hazel. It's almost Saturday today, and that makes it time to sit down and catch up on a bunch of stuff because it's not just you. I did miss a week last week, so we have extra lot to catch up on. And I suppose the best it's going to be one of those days today, and we're going to get through it together. So I suppose the best place to start would be at the beginning. So let's rewind 2 weeks ago, I think. I went to Blizzard. That's super cool. I got to go and visit the Blizzard headquarters in Irvine, California for a couple of days earlier this month. They hosted an 8.2 Summit event that I was very grateful to be a part of, where I got to playtest some new content. I got to sit down and talk with the developers and ask questions. And so that's where I was 2 weeks ago. The parts that I actually got to play was the early outdoor experience in Mechagon, which is of course now available on the PTR, and I got to do the last 4 bosses of Operation Mechagon, the dungeon. The Titan Essence system was fully in action during our playtest, so I got a good eye full of that, and then the rest of the info that we got was from the presentation they gave us, which was much like the 8.2 announcement livestream that happened later in the week, and from talking to the team. If you're not already caught up as far as what's actually coming in 8.2, it is a huge list. This screen cap from the 8.2 announcement livestream from the end of it covers most of it, and it's a huge patch. Massive patch. They seemed hesitant to say biggest patch ever because I believe that's bitten them in the past, but I can say it. I have never seen a patch with as much going on as this one. It almost feels like a new expansion in the middle of the expansion, and for a lot of people that might be what BFA needs. Mechagon the Zone looks really neat. I'm very excited for it. It is available on the PTR, so you can go and doodle around there yourself if you like. And the whole idea of it is it's basically like the Timeless Isle sort of scale and density, but like even denser. There should be lots and lots to do and uncover as you go, and it should also be a huge source of collectibles, which is my kind of thing. New stuff to do is great, but I want the mounts and the toys and the pets. And boy, there's some pets. And there's a couple of new systems out there. They've gone very hard in on the whole tinkering theme, so you'll be picking up spare parts and other tinker crafting mats while you're on the island doing island stuff. And then you can use those to either make those short-term construction projects to give you like a short-term world bonus, or you can take them back to Pascal and like tinker craft, which is like a free extra profession for everybody, but that is specific to these new zones. You can tinker craft yourself some like super strong consumables, or you can work on crafting like, mounts and pets and stuff, assuming that you have found the schematics. So the thing that really impresses me about Mechagon is I think they've done a really good job of packing a lot of stuff to do in, but burying it sort of so that you're not going to get super burned out, but you're also not going to feel like super artificially time gated. Like those are kind of two opposites of a spectrum where you don't really want to be on either side. If you go too far in the direction of giving us a ton of stuff to do whenever we want, you end up with like an early mop situation where there's just so much to do and you feel like you have to do it, where you just have people doing like 5 hours a day of quests and then hating it and burning out. And then on the other side of that coin is like the Broken Shore, where you go and you do your like 30 minutes a week and then you just have to very artificially wait until next week. So I think with Mechagon they've done a great job of making it so you sort of play naturally and you'll uncover more things to do as you go. And then if you're like really driven, you have a lot of time, you want to get through it quicker, you can probably look up guides into like how to start this quest line, how to start this quest line, and where this thing drops. But if you want to just like play it like a normal adventure, you'll still find stuff. It'll just be at a more like reasonable pace, especially since there's also going to be Najatar going on, which we haven't seen yet. Something I was excited to see confirmed is that Pathfinder Part 2 is definitely in 8.2, and it's not going to be a super strenuous unlock. It sounds like the rep part is only revered with the new Najatar rep, so that shouldn't take you like a crazy amount of time, like a couple of weeks after the patch, and you will be able to fly in both Najatar and Mechagon. And I love that. I was concerned. We've had a couple of endgame zones that they don't let you fly in, or maybe it was just Argus, and Argus is just really burned into my brain, but I'm very relieved we'll be able to fly in those zones. Can't wait to unlock flying. The mount they give you for it is gorgeous. So if you are behind in Pathfinder Part 1, now is a great time to catch up on that. I do strongly recommend it. You'll regret it if you don't. And I believe you can look up your character at wowhead.com/attunement to find out what you still need if you're not sure where to go for that. Other news, there's a new pet dungeon in Strathholm that I actually did not find out in the trip. That was like a surprise at the end of the announcement live stream. So nice to see some new pet dungeon content on the way. I do hope for the new pets that we'll get from it that it's not like just a bunch of skeletons and undead, but I can deal with more skeletons and undead. I'm just happy to have new stuff to do. And then mount equipment is my other highlight from 8.2 news. I did make a video just covering like what it is and how it works earlier in the week. I did want to talk a little bit more about it because since then I've seen a lot of conversation online and a lot of people with varying opinions and feelings about it, so I wanted to add a little bit more. Since the PTR has gone live, I can confirm that if you have a Water Strider on your account, every single alt that you have will be mailed a copy of the Water Strider equipment, not just the character with rep. All of your alts will get one copy. So if you're real mad about mount equipment, you don't want your Water Strider to lose water walking, you hate the whole thing, you can just open your mail, equip the new item, pretend nothing's changed, and you'll be able to water walk on other mounts too, just in case you get sick of the water bug. So you've lost nothing, and you don't have to engage in the new system if you want. It's just giving you more flexibility. And then if you do decide to experiment or try out other mount equipments on any of those characters, you can buy additional BOA copies on your main for 40 gold a piece to change it back. So I'm personally happy with that. Another complaint that I'm seeing against this change is some people feel like having an easier way to get water walking on their mounts invalidates the grind that you might have done for the Water Strider. And Blizzard's plan to address this, like the way they're addressing this is making it so A, it's free for you if you had a Water Strider and then cheaper for more copies. Whereas if you've never unlocked the Water Strider, you'll need to get it through probably a profession. It may end up being a blacksmithing item. I haven't seen if that's hit PTR yet, but it's almost certainly going to be more expensive than 40 gold. So you still have an advantage if you did the Water Strider grind. And in fact, people may still want to do the Water Strider grind to get access to cheaper and easier copies of it down the road. It's just a nice thing to have unlocked. I'm not surprised that they're adding a more modern way to get water walking because it's such a core movement utility that it feels weird to have a new player come to the game and get to 120 and see all these people water walking around and go, how do I do that? And then to have to tell that person, oh yeah, go back to Mop. Go fish in Pandaria or Draenor for an old reputation, and then you can do this thing that you really, really want to do. So I'm not surprised that they're updating it. One potential solution that I've seen suggested a lot in comments is just to leave the Water Strider alone like they're doing with the Herbing mounts. So still have the water walking equipment for people that want to be able to switch it up cosmetically, but don't take it away from the initial Water Strider. And I think the problem with that, at least for me, is if they do that, my new best course of action is to get one of the other equipments. Specifically, there's one that makes you ride 20% faster, and then just ride my Water Strider everywhere so I can still go everywhere, can still walk on water and do it 20% faster. So that doesn't really, like, that's getting away from the goal that they're trying to give you of having the flexibility to choose which mount you cosmetically want to ride without feeling like you're being punished for it. So I'm happy with it, but I understand that everybody might not be. In more recent news, Crucible of Storms came out this week, so a brand new raid. I do have 2 raid guides for that on my channel for normal and heroic difficulty in case you want to catch up. My guild cleared normal. We killed both bosses on normal, and that was about as far as we could go because we barely had 10 people. Because I think a couple people forgot the raid was coming out. Like the timing of it, just with all of the 8.2 news, just like washing the new raid release off of the front of news pages, meant that some people forgot there was a raid, so hopefully we'll get a little farther next week, but I really like doing those fights with my guild. We had a blast on Unot. Our crown holder was just like having a great time mashing the button all the time. So our last phase was really long because we weren't using like a lot of damage because of that 50% damage reduction. So then we ended up having almost everybody have the feed in the weak buff and everybody just searching for that one last healthy person to siphon the life off of. We did kill it. It was great. Love that raid. Hopefully we get to do some heroic next week. So in my life this week, I'm not going to lie to you, I have been a mess. Last Friday, Joker, my dog, we took him to the vet and we had some dental surgery for him because some of his teeth were bad and needed to be removed. And he was very, very, very unhappy about that. So we have been kind of babying him. I spent Friday night with him. I didn't feel up to doing the vlog last week. We've been like softening his food and he had to, it's just this whole thing. And it's just so hard to see your buddy just like so miserable. And like, you just paid like a ton of money to have someone make him miserable, even though it's for his own good. It's just, that's a rough weekend. And then I've been sick. I picked something up on the plane, as is tradition, coming home from California, and I thought I fought it off, but then clearly I haven't because I've been messed up this week. I'm still not quite here, but we're doing our best. And then the cat managed to tear out one of her toenails. And we had to take her to the vet. It's like completely gone. Apparently it'll grow back, but we're keeping her clean to make sure that heals all nicely, and that was really sad. And then at least the fish are good. I appreciate that. I appreciate these guys just like holding their butts together while everybody else falls apart so we can kind of deal with one thing at a time. I also saw an optometrist this week and found out that I do need glasses. I was kind of wondering. I've been feeling like I haven't been seeing as well as I used to, so I actually finally saw an eye doctor, and turns out, yes, I do. So I'm gonna I guess I'm getting some glasses. Questions from last week. Akiaji asks, do you have a pet that you are particularly fond of? For me, it's a Lashtail hatchling. Had it with me until I soloed it in Legion. So for me, it changes. The Grainwing Macaw was my first battle pet, so that one will always have like a special place in my heart. I actually don't pull it out super often because I still get super strong like nostalgic feelings when I do pull it out, so I like save that for when I really need a mood boost by looking at my Grain Parrot. It makes sense to me. And then more recently, I try to theme the pet to my main and like to the expansion. So because I've been manning the Gnome Shadow Priest for a while, like all through Legion, I had the Nightmare Whelpling out, and then through BFA, I've had the Crimson Octopode. So for me, both of those pets, they they kind of have the same color scheme, which is one that I sort of like. I sort of play my Shadow Priest in my head like it's a blood mage, even though that's not really a class in WoW. It should be. And I feel like they just really nail that mix of like cute like a gnome, but creepy like a Shadow Priest with the Void and the Nightmare and all that. So those are the ones that I use. And Nilzors asks, I'm wondering what would be the best race to level up for a Shadow Priest. I really want one, but don't know what race to pick for it. So assuming that you haven't already picked, because this was 2 weeks ago, so you might have. So I went and looked up on World of, I forget right now, but I'll put it on the screen, statistics of what the races of top Shadow Priests are, like mythic rating Shadow Priests that are at least 5 of 9 mythic or higher. And it turns out most of them are Blood Elves, followed by humans, and then Undead, and then Void Elves. So those people probably know more than me. They're probably onto something in terms of what racials are good. I don't know. I play Gnome, as I've said before, because of the haste, which is generally a good stat for Shadow Priest, so hard to go wrong with Gnome. But at the end of the day, the racial difference is so small, or at least it should be, and if it's not, it'll get fixed. So I would never recommend rolling a race based on an overpowered racial because they usually get reined in. The difference is so small that it doesn't really matter. Like, if you're having a better day, you're going to do more damage than the difference it would have made if you were like the ideal race. So play what looks good to you and like what fits your idea of what a Shadow Priest looks like. I really think that Void Elves, Undead, and then Gnomes make like awesome Shadow Priests, but that's just me, the answer might be different for you. So that has been my week. Thank you very much for watching. I apologize for my absence, and there might be a little bit more still coming while I like scrape my life back together. I will be streaming this afternoon. Hope to see some of you there. If you have any questions that you would like me to answer on a vlog, please leave them in the comments of the most recent vlog and include the word question. Let me know what you think, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.